Welcome everyone to this webinar brought to you by the Israel Defense and Security Forum, IDSF. In Hebrew, our name is Hadonistim. IDSF is a movement of reserve officers and operators from all branches of the Israel Defense Establishment who believe that strong national security priorities and staunch Zionism are necessary for Israel to be the eternal homeland of the Jewish people. Thank you, of course, to all of our viewers and supporters for tuning into these war briefings. It is very important to us at IDSF that you have the opportunity to hear directly from IDSF experts on the ground here in Israel who know what is going on and can connect you in a very real and direct way through these very candid briefings. We are joined today by Danny Seaman, who is going to give us a lot of insight into this war and into the U.S.-Israel relationship. Danny was the director of the Israel Government Press Office for 10 years, IDF spokesperson to the foreign press during the Oslo process, and a senior official in the Prime Minister's Office for Public Diplomacy. He is the author of the book Israel and the Foreign Media. He also works extensively on behalf of IDSF and outreach to the international Christian community. At some point during this briefing, we are hoping to cut to the Gaza border, wherein we will be joined by Lieutenant Colonel Yaron Buskila, if his schedule in Gaza allows. So let's stay tuned to that for this briefing. But in the interim, we're going to go right now to Danny. Danny, please, what can you tell us? There's a lot to talk about, but right now on many people's minds is, of course, this big march on Washington. I would not be surprised if many IDSF viewers perhaps are on their way to DC right now. What can you tell us about the meaning of this rally and what it could do for Israel and what the greatest aim would be for the U.S.-Israel relationship?
Oh, wow. Where do we begin? First off, Yaron, I hope he makes it. It's hard for people to understand how busy they are there and how things are constantly moving forward. If I start with today's events, we had the launching of missiles towards Israeli towns and in the south once again. By the way, there have been over 9,000 of missiles launched directly at civilians, which is, and I mention this because we hear so often about the concern in the West and among those who are critical of Israel that are so concerned with human rights and international law, and they're the first ones to waive this. 9,000 just in the past month, over 9,000 missiles fired from civilian areas, which is a violation of international law, which is a war crime in of its own, in the direction of civilians. They're not firing at military installations or at military targets. Now, Israel that is doing everything because the Hamas is hiding among civilians and Israel is doing everything to prevent civilian casualties is constantly and consistently criticized, while the same thing done against Israelis, nobody's saying anything about that. And today, once again, my family live in the town of Ashkelon. Ashkelon has had most of the missiles were fired in its direction. And in my family's neighborhood today, they had 2 missiles fall in that area. 2 people were injured. You don't have a lot of Israeli casualties, fortunately, because first off, they listen to the instructions of the government here. And second, the state of Israel has spent billions of dollars in helping and making sure our civilians are protected. Every construction in Israel for the past 20 years has required that every new building has a safe room. So Israelis are taking refuge in these safe rooms and are protected because of the efforts of our country. And it's very important to tell people, Israel cannot be more responsible for the citizens of Gaza than the Gazans themselves, than their own leaders that they elected, by the way. They had their own parliament there in Gaza, run by the Hamas. Yesterday, Golani troops but from the company and from the battalion that were butchered just over a month ago on the border by the Hamas and by Gazan citizens who broke in after Hamas, the same battalion took over the parliament of Hezbollah in Gaza yesterday. So today they were firing missiles in the direction of Israel. We had 2 people injured. There's still events going on in the north of Israel. And in the past 24 hours, we have also, with the aid of Americans, hospitals and DNA laboratories in the United States were able to identify 3 of the missing, a young 12-year-old girl, an elderly woman. Their bodies were identified and their identities were clear. They destroyed and did so much damage to the bodies themselves that it took us over a month to identify these the bodies and who they belong to. And these are some of the things that we've been dealing with in the past 24 hours, understanding. And from this, I want to say, why is it so important what is happening in Washington, in the United States, and hopefully elsewhere, is that what you've seen in the past month have been violent demonstrations of people supporting the war crimes against the state of Israel, saying that and accusing Israel, that is defending its civilians, of perpetrating war crimes, lies that you get in the media. And people of faith and good people have to stand out against this and let their governments know that the majority of the people in these countries understand and know how to differentiate between good and bad. Now, it's not that you're against the civilians in Gaza if you support Israel. Look, we're doing everything to try understanding the situation that these people are under. But at the same time, our first responsibility is the safety of our own civilians and putting an end to the murderous, genocidal attempts on the part of Hamas, who have never hidden it. They've said it openly and said it completely, and we saw. It's no longer our imagination what they're capable of doing to us. We saw this over a month ago, and this festival of murder and rape and pillaging that they did against the Israeli people. So now good people have to stand up and make it very clear. We have been having tremendous support from the United States, which is in a way was even a bit surprising. People would say that this particular administration, there were questions about its commitment to the state of Israel. Certainly those who followed what it was doing in the Middle East, it raised greater concerns because of the withdrawal from Afghanistan, moving out from other locations. Allies of the United States here were questionable about the commitment of the United States. All these had a resounding answer over a month ago when the United States stood strongly and it's full committed to the state of Israel and the protection of Israel, and also the right of Israel to stand up and defend itself. Now, we have to be very clear about this. And this pertains to things I'll be saying, continuing my analysis of what is going on here. Israel is not a ghetto. It is not one of these places where they put Jews to stay there because they had no place else and nobody wanted to tolerate them around the world. This may be the impression of some people, but we're here as an independent country. We're here and we can go through the whole thing, but let's keep it simple. Just like other countries and other peoples in the world who have the right to self-determination, so do the Jewish people, and we exercise that in the land of Israel, our ancestral homeland. And this, 100 years ago, in the San Remo conference, was given the okay and the blessings of the international community. The only legal things that people talk to you about international law, the only international decision that applies to the situation here in the land of Israel was the decision that the Jews have the right to self-determination. And the United Nations in 1947, it's by the end of this month, it'll be the anniversary on the 29th of November, the United Nations declared the creation of a Jewish state and an Arab state. Israel, the Jewish people at that time accepted this. The Arabs did not, which is their right, by the way. They was fully within their right not to accept the UN resolution. And I mention this again because all the time people tell us and remind us of UN resolutions. Well, this resolution was not accepted by the Arab countries. What was not within their right is something they did then and they're continuing to do today. What they did then was not only not accept the UN resolution, but they also went to war and declared war against the state of Israel. I see Yaron is here. I'd rather we let him give the summary and we'll go back to talking about the situation.
Danny, thank you so much. We're going to pause right now and come back to you. It's a great honor and pleasure to be joined by Lieutenant Colonel Yaron Skila. As many of you know, the members of IDSF are not just working within our NGO, but many of them are currently deployed within Gaza. They left their families, their jobs, their communities, and are risking their lives every day fighting for Israel and the Jewish people. Lieutenant Colonel Yaron Buskil is one of those people. October 7th, as he told us on a previous briefing we had, October 7th, Yaron literally dropped what he was doing, jumped in his car, and drove down to the bases in the south to fight. He is a hero of Israel. Yaron is a very special person. It's a great pleasure to have you. I'm not going to waste any more time. Yaron, what can you tell us about what's happening right now in Gaza?
Okay, so how are you, everyone? So my name is Yaron Buskila. I'm serving in the Gaza division. My current role is the operation officer of the Gaza division. So right now I'm here in the base command of Gaza. I'll give you a short brief for the last 5 weeks, and I try to find a place just to tell you my story. So on a Saturday morning, 5 weeks ago, as you probably know, more than 2,500 terrorists penetrated into Israel from 75 different places around Gaza division. They actually broke the fence. They broke part of the wall around Gaza, the Gaza, and like more than 200 and 500 terrorists infiltrated inside Israel. They had a very organized plan. The first terrorists, like more than 1,000, went into our bases, some of our positions. One of them were this base, the Gaza base command. 40 terrorists infiltrated into this base. Some of them went to some other position around Gaza. The second wave of the terrorists infiltrated into our villages, and the other wave that came 1 hour later were actually some of the Gaza civilians that they called them and asked them to join them so they can kill more Jewish people in the villages, and even steal some of the things that was belonged to the kibbutzim, to the villages. So some of the places just got into the houses and took everything. If you can see one of the videos, you can see a guy that getting inside with his pickup. He took a bicycle, he took a motorcycle, and he took one child and he put them behind, just like that. So the first day when they just started, I woke up into the siren alarm, 6:30 in the morning. I called to my commander. My commander is living not so far away from the Gaza division, and asking what's going on. And I was sure that this is one of the, no, once in a couple of months, there are some sirens shooting into Israel. We're actually used to that. And he told me, listen, from where I live, I can hear a voice of a shooting. So I think it's not something normal. Maybe there is attack into Israel, but what we planned and we were sure about, and some of what we thought that's going to happen, it's based on the information that we got from our intelligence unit, that they are planning to attack 1 village, 2 villages, not more than that. So some of the reserve units that were here, some of them are elite units, was prepared to not more than 1 village, not more than 1 or 2 villages. So there was not too much soldier that were just preparing to avoid or to fight against more terrorists. So I took it was Shabbat morning. I went immediately to my division base command. And 20 minutes later, I called to my commander, asking what's going on, if he have more information. He told me, listen, I'm in the middle of a shooting fight. There are terrorists all around me. I cannot speak with you. And I was sure that this is, I don't know, maybe it's just overwhelming. I don't know. It's. I mean, it's not gonna. How can it be that there is terrorists all around, just doing his way as normal on the same road? And so I keep driving to the base. I knew this area very well. I grew up not so far away from Gaza division, from Gaza Strip. So I found a dirt way that took me straight to the gate of the base, and I still didn't understand what happened. I was sure this is just rockets are launching rockets into Israel. This is just maybe anti-tank rockets that they are shooting. And when I got to the base, I saw that the gate was open. I saw a soldier that was killed, was lying next to the gate. His weapon was still next to him. I took his weapon, I got inside, and then I understood that if the gate is open like that, and there is a soldier that is killed, and I saw some motorcycles that was just next to the gate. It was actually belonged to the terrorists. I understood that there is a terrorist inside the base. And as I got in, they started shooting me from two different places. I shot and I killed one of them. And immediately some elite units that came with a helicopter joined me. And it took us around 5-6 hours of fighting inside the base. We were around 12, 13 soldiers against 40 terrorists. So after 6 hours, it took us to kill all of them. Some of them find the shelter inside one of the, actually the gym that there is part of this base. So we used one of the helicopter and we launched a rocket from the helicopter to the gym. And we killed around 10 terrorists inside. And then after that, we started trying to stabilize the situation and to start and to understand what's going on all around Gaza. And as you probably know, there are more than 20 villages just in the distance of between the gate to 4 kilometers. And all of them was just asking for troops to help them. And every unit, even if it's elite unit or not a elite unit, that called me, we were sending them directly straight to this village to help the people. In every village, there was like around 80, 100, or 100 and even more terrorists. So every unit that we send, every team actually, or squad, are around like 15, 20 soldiers as every time that they got in. So you can understand, like, it was around between 15 soldier against 100 or 150 terrorists inside that already infiltrated into the villages, slaughtered the people that was living there, already killed the babies, kidnapped some of the civilians, and in a very, very brutal way. So totally, it took us till night to take over again all of the villages and to make sure that there is no any other terrorist inside. So totally, it was around more than 16 hours to make sure that there is not even one terrorist in the villages. It took us time to understand that there are more than 200 hostages that they are kidnapped into Gaza. And as you probably know, more than 1,400 people that they killed, some of them for the party that took place during the Shabbat. And they tried to escape and they killed them in the car. They actually blocked the road from two different ways. And they were just trapped between two two groups of terrorists in the south and on the north of the road. They have no place to escape. They just move from one car to another and shoot them inside the cars. Even those that try to escape, they were chasing them, pursuing them with motorcycles and kill them during while there was try to escape. So on the next day, our mission was to try and to find all of the bodies of the Jewish people that were still there in the area, to recognize them, to bring them back. Some of them were in Israel. Some of them were in around 1 kilometer inside Gaza. Their bodies were still there because we used our helicopters and our drones to shoot their pickups because they tried to take their bodies. So we shot the pickups that was doing their way back into Gaza. So part of the bodies were still there. It took us time to bring all of them back. Actually, not all of them already back. So maybe part of their body is still there. When I say part, we are talking about very small pieces because they burned the bodies. So if some of them we just found only teeth or fingers, and sorry for describing all of that, but just make you understand in what kind of a brutal ways are treat even the bodies. Some of them were they just burned their body while they were still alive and with ropes around their hands, and some of them in a very, very brutal way. I don't want just to describe everything. So even yesterday, 5 weeks after we found part of the bodies, we even had an assist of archaeologic to know what is the difference between a bone to just a small rock, and to send everything to a DNA. And there is still some people, around 6 or 7 people that we try to recognize and to make sure that they are even bringing part of someone just to bury him and to have a grave in Israel. After we made sure that there is all of the areas that we are planning to going into and to attack Gaza, in the offense or the counterattack inside Gaza. So we don't want to smash some of the bodies with our tanks. So we started with these areas. So after 2 weeks, 3 weeks actually, we started with our counter attack inside Gaza from 3 different places. When the main goal, our objective was first is to make sure that we are destroying the Hamas and demilitarize the Hamas, so there will be no Hamas exist anymore. Because we understand that even here, if the Hamas will still be existing, nobody will come back to live in this area anymore. And more than that, after what they did, there is no way that the Hamas will still be in Gaza, not with its military forces, and not with even controlling Gaza, even controlling civilians, not even having its regime. So, and this is the first goal. The second goal is to find all of our the Israeli civilians that's still in the hands of the Hamas, our hostages, and to bring them back home. It's not easy. You have to understand that the Hamas used all of the money that he get from all over the world. We're talking about $3.5 billion every year just for preparing to this time, to the attacking of the IDF. He create in many thousands of rockets. Still in the last 5 weeks, he launched more than 10,000 rockets into Israel. 10,000 rockets into Israel. And he built underground city. Some of the tunnels that he dig, it's around 40-meter underground. 40-meter, it's like, I think 80 feet, Moshe, like around 80 feet underground. Well,
somewhere around there. But Yaron, I just want to. We have only a few minutes left.
okay, so I will just
And we
finish
could
and
listen
say,
to you all day, and I know your time is incredibly precious. Are you able to kind of tell us where do things stand right now in terms of updates for today? How things look different now than they did a month ago?
okay. So right now we have more than 3 divisions inside Gaza, and we are already touched the most of the main places that the Hamas hold. We split between the north area of Gaza to the south, and we let the Gaza civilians to go south because we wanted to have a clear place to we can fight without killing not involved people, because we know that the world can stop us when if we will hurt kids or I don't know, kindergarten. So right now we have like a free area to work. We're working underground. We're working up of the ground. We killed thousands of terrorists till now. In most of the areas, right now they're trying to escape. Their tunnels become their graves because we are attacked with a lot of fire. Most of the places where they're located, and we smashed a lot of tunnels. So we see day by day how they break, and that's why they're just asking for ceasefire. They know that we're getting very close to Shifa Hospital. Shifa Hospital, this is their main command base underground. Most of the terrorists actually hiding under a Shifa Hospital, and we're getting very, very close. And once we will decide, we will get in, and we are, of course, trying to bring our hostages back and to kill their commanders and their leaders. I believe that it will take a couple of weeks more to finish this part of the attack, and then the next, it will take us, I think, a year or even more to clear and to clean all of this area from terrorists until we make sure that there is no Jihad Islami Palestine organization anymore and not Hamas.
Lieutenant Colonel Yaron Buskila, thank you so much for everything that you've done for the state of Israel, for the Jewish people, at great personal jeopardy. We hope you stay safe and strong. It's really a great pleasure to hear from you, and we appreciate your time. Danny Seaman, I'm sorry we had to cut you off, but we really appreciated your updates, and we're going to bring you back to share more with our viewers. Tomorrow we have Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricas, the IDF spokesperson, joining us. So please, of course, join us tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, for our briefing. Stay safe, everyone. Stay strong. If you're on your way to DC, then thank you so much for representing Israel and the Jewish people in Washington, DC. Take care, everyone.